Hi guys, Synsonic here. This time I thought we're gonna talk some about reverbs because that is something I like to use. And the difference of using them in parallel and serial ways and what differs them and what benefits they have. So let's begin here. The serial way, you have a one path from start to finish, from source to the master bus. And you have the reverb effect put inside this root. And you control the reverb here by how much it blends and the EQ of the reverb effect itself. And then we have the parallel way, and you still have this serial kind of path. The difference between this and serial is that you have a separate bus channel from the original sound itself, going over here and to here, where you have the dry reverb, and it inputs down here. So down here you have a dry signal and you have a wet signal. And that makes that you have another kind of control over this kind of reverb that you don't get with the serial way of reverb. So let's head over here. And here on the left side, we have a serial configured reverb shimmer. And here on the right side, we have a parallel configured reverb. So we're gonna play this and switch between the serial and the parallel. So we begin with the serial, and you're gonna hear some difference. Okay. So the difference between these are actually that for this reverb on the parallel on this FX bus, we just don't have a reverb, because before this I have an EQ. It's kind of set up the same way as this serial configured reverb, but I like to keep an EQ before a reverb like this, because I don't need all that space for a reverb often to make it sound like a good reverb, because a sound of an instrument itself has so much wider range of EQ space and low end than this reverb. I mean, I cut this at 500, or no, I'm sorry, 751, so it ends around 500. But for the sound itself, it's still room for it below here, I believe, about 200 hertz. So and you don't need the reverb to be on the full spectrum of the instrument itself, rarely, to make it sound good. However, it's not the end here, because after EQ and then pass into the reverb, and you get the fully mixed reverb effect. I also have a multiband compressor. I use the FabFilter Pro MB because here I can sidechain with the original source of the sound instrument itself. And that means when the instrument is played, the signal of the reverb itself is pushed down and ducked down to be played lower until the instrument has released and left more space according to how the compressor is set up. And you can actually hear this if we play just one of the channels here. And you can see on the yellow curve how it acts and leaves space for the reverb. So let's just take a quick look. Yes, and that's actually how I do parallel processing of reverb usually when I want a reverb to be a part of the sound. I liked more the serial way. Yes, I still use it, but I more use it when I think of the reverb as an effect, and I want the reverb to be the primary of the output and not the instrument itself, because like I have talked some about before is focus, and when I want to focus on the reverb, I might consider having the reverb on the serial chain and not the parallel. But when I don't want to have the primary focus on the reverb, I usually put it as a parallel because I have much better control over the reverb itself on a different scale, a different level. And in this case, I also have a limiter after the compressor. And you might think, why do I put a limiter after a compressor? And because yeah, I can have a pretty rough, hard compressor pump action, sort of. You know how much it should push the signal through and leave space. But that can also make it pretty low. You might use a limiter just for pushing up the level a bit. I mean, you can probably use a leveler too. I like to use a limiter, but hey, it's just for pushing up the volume just a bit because it can get pushed back pretty rough, pretty hard, and it can still sound good when pushed back up. So that's a few tips from me, and I hope you have gotten some new got some new thoughts or so on how you can differ and use reverbs in different ways. So until next time, cheers guys.